Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Lycanroc. You don't. Aerodactyl is just going to be a better Pokemon. More speed, and when you really get into the numbers, 115 attack and 105 attack, there's really no difference. So there you go. I just saved you 10 minutes and 2 ads. Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Lycanroc's Midday form. So Lycanroc Midday is going to be a pure rock typing, which looks something like this. Actually pretty interesting that the rock typing in general has a ton of weaknesses. Generally, you see that kind of patched up, that rock pairs with something else, and that kind of covers for it really well. But overall, we have fighting, ground, steel, water, and grass weaknesses, as well as the normal flying, poison, and fire resistances. But then when we look at the rock typing offensively, we can kind of see that it works both ways, that we eat a lot of super effective hits, but then we also deal a lot of super effective hits as well. Bug, fire, flying, and ice, and then the resisted hits, they're kind of whatever. I don't think like the normal resist is weird, because normal doesn't hit anything super effective, and being able to resist it is just good, because like a stab, double edge, or return could be pretty powerful from some normal type Pokemon. So having that edge right there is going to be pretty good. Looking at the stats, this is where we get to see, alright, we got some potential here with Lycanroc. 115 on the attack, while not the craziest, strongest hitting Pokemon ever, is still pretty respectable. And then 112 on the speed. I'm happy to see 112 speed, because that means we're outspeeding most of the Pokemon. That 112 is going to be better than average. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and pull up Cerebi to go and show you some speed tiers and whatnot. So we're still around 60th, which means a lot of Pokemon are going to outspeed us, but not a lot of Pokemon that can actually challenge us. The higher up we get into the speed tiers, we start seeing a lot of flying type Pokemon, and Pokemon that are going to be weak against us. Like Alakazam, I ran the damage calculations at some point, we'll hop into those, and we just like straight up kill Alakazam with the Stone Edge. So as Pokemon get faster, they generally get more and more frail. I think one of the bigger threats would be the Greninja, but then it's just going to be like flying type Pokemon, which we do really well against anyways, so that's going to be kind of an interesting side effect to having such a fast rock type Pokemon, and then the other ones are going to be pretty standard. But at the 112, we outspeed enough, because there's a lot of 110 base speed Pokemon, there's a lot of Pokemon below into like the hundreds and stuff, so we find the very, very necessary outspeeds that we need to. Looking at the move set for Lycanroc, this is going to be the midnight form, we'll be doing that video later, but now we have this for the day form, and we get Accelerock. Accelerock is so sick. User smashes into the target at high speed. This move always goes first, so we have a +1 priority rock type move with Stab. That could be pretty awesome, and we'll see how it works out later on in the video. Then it's just rock coverage. Unfortunately, not really that great of coverage. Like, Crunch is kind of it, and then we don't get the Earthquake. Like, Earthquake on this Pokemon would be absolutely amazing, but we don't get much of that. Stone Edge. And then with the egg moves, we see Sucker Punch, Thunder Fang, and Fire Fang. So, could be usable. Problem is, non-stab, 115 attack using Fang moves at 65 base power. I don't think it's that great, and the Sucker Punch nerf is also kind of like in the way, but if you think about it, Sucker Punch, if you can make that prediction, is going to be more damage than an Accelerock, and Accelerock is just going to be 60 base power with that stab and stuff. Now, the thing is, if you predict if your opponent is doing a damaging move or not, that you can just throw out the Sucker Punch for a little bit more damage than the Accelerock. If you know that they're not going for a damaging move, then you would rather be going for something crazy, because you're already fast enough to where if the opponent is going for status, it shouldn't really bother you, and then you just throw out the Stone Edge anyway. So maybe the Accelerock isn't as crazy as we thought in a lot of situations, but in those super effective ones, like, you know, you just hit it with a flying type Pokemon, and that could be very devastating, especially after Stealth Rocks or something else has come into play. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown. So this is pretty much what I was looking at. You go Jolly Nature to get the most out of your speed, you invest into your attack, and then you just try to kill things with the Life Orb. So Brick Break is a nice TM for that coverage, that we are going to be resisted by rock type Pokemon, so we can Brick Break it. Super effective hit against the normal type Pokemon, but Brick Break is kind of awkward like that. So Stone Edge with the 100 base power is just going to become 150 neutrally because of Stab, and Brick Break doubling off a super effective hit is the same. But I guess it's better just to have that accuracy boost. The Light Screen Reflect are getting a decent amount of play, so might be usable, question mark. There could be something that ends up happening right there. And then, yes, Stone Edge is just going to be your Stab, and then Accelerock or the Sucker Punch, depending on what your personal preference is right there. So just looking at some other things that Lycanroc can do, it gets access to the Bulk Up and the Swords Dance, Stance, and since pretty much we're just going to be using Rock-type moves to do Rock-type things, I think Stone Plate is going to be our best bet. Also, if you're thinking about it, Life Orb is going to be 1.3 times, and a Bulk Up is going to be 1.5 times. So if we're using Bulk Up, that means we're getting more damage on our super effective Brick Breaks and Crunches anyway, so we don't really need to worry about the Life Orb, or we also don't need to worry about the item not benefiting these moves. Now, Bulk Up is going to be a reliability thing, that a strong neutral hit or a very weak super effective hit, that after a Bulk Up, well, you have a chance of surviving it, so it's going to make you better set up against physical Pokemon, and a +1 Stone-Plated Stone Edge is going to be really powerful anyways, so you could consider the Bulk Up, or you just go Swords Dance. You just run in, Swords Dance, and then you try to just one-shot everything that is slower than you. So pretty much if you can take out the faster Pokemon on your opponent's team, you can do really well with this set. And that's kind of where it gets awkward, because what move do you get rid of? I would actually think maybe the Crunch if you're running Swords Dance, and the Accelerock if you're running Bulk Up. So if you're running Swords Dance, yeah, that +2 Accelerock is now going to be one-shotting Flying-type Pokemon, so that might be a thing to consider. But then if you're running the Bulk Up, you might want a little bit more coverage on that Crunch to break down those slower Pokemon that would otherwise resist you. Now, again, limited moveset is going to make it hard for Lycanroc, so you might get walled out, but this is kind of the best thing, that you just bring in Lycanroc, you set up the Swords Dance, you're faster than them, and then you just try to one-shot everything. So, fast Pokemon Swords Dance, effectively what Lycanroc can do. These are some other move options. This is not a moveset, just other things. I mentioned the Sucker Punch already. Taunt, it's just a fast taunt to help shut down your opponent. If your opponent's going setup, what you do is you taunt their setup, now they don't set up, and then you can go for Stealth Rocks, and now you get a Stealth Rocks, and then maybe you can run like Roar and Rock Slide. Rock Slide has that chance to flinch, a little bit better accuracy, just some damage down with a Lycanroc, and then whenever you see a safe opportunity, like oh, my opponent's trying to set up, or I can predict a setup, you roar them. So the idea is that you can try to phase your opponent, that they're taking Stealth Rock damage, now they can be taunted so they don't have many setup opportunities. If you roar them out, they're just taking a little bit more, and then Rock Slide is chipping them away. So kind of like a fast setup-ish Pokemon with almost a little bit of support, even though it seems like more of a damaging, less tanky kind of Pokemon. Lycanroc can pull that off, and then doubles. Lycanroc actually works out pretty well. You can Rock Tomb an opponent to lower their speed, or you can also go for that Rock Slide. Rock Slide, not going to do insane amounts of damage, because in double battles, the damage will be split, but it's just a fast Rock Slide, so the opponent might even flinch off of that, and it gives you safety to run like a Focus Sash or something, so you can survive that extra hit, slow down an opponent, outspeed them, go for the Rock Slide, maybe flinch, find some chip damage, and it will add up over time, and then if you have a bigger, stronger Pokemon next to you, you might do all right. So that's pretty much it on just straightforward stuff with the Lycanroc. I mean, it does things, and it seems like it can work. Let's see how it actually applies with some damage calculations. So damage calculations, I'm just like, alright, what is our strongest move going to be? Stone Edge, 80% accuracy. Remember, every time you're trying to make that big play with the Lycanroc on the Stone Edge, there's a 20% chance that it fails and you die, so not super reliable in the end. But say, Jolly, we need that speed, Life Orb, Stone Edge on the Lycanroc. Against Pokemon like Silvally, not going to be enough to KO, but again, if the Pokemon is like bulky, it might not have enough damage to take you out, or if it outspeeds you, it might not be a lot of damage either, because it's like a super frail, just fast little Pokemon right there. But showing that our neutral, big, blow-up move isn't really super insane, but that means we have to start getting to like +1 and Swords Dance, and finding other ways of boosting that. Against Silvally, if it doesn't have a super effective hit against us, we can actually set up that just Swords Dance, or even a Bulk Up from that range for the KO. And then I just wanted to bring up the Alakazam, so I kind of showed this earlier, and the Alakazam is really weird. Like, Energy Ball, we just straight up die. Psychic, so yeah, we have 75, 65. So remember how I use like Weavile and I talk about Pokemon in like the 70s, mid-70 ranges as easy one-hit KOs? Well, that's where Lycanroc is. So it turns out that those frail, fast Pokemon I was talking about, well, Lycanroc falls into that. So Alakazam can outspeed and one-hit KO you, but it shows that your Stone Edge still has a good damage range against it. I was just like looking for fast Pokemons where, alright, when would we use the Accelerock? Well, when the opponent is faster than us. So that means Alakazam would have to already be at half health. Actually, wow, the Accelerock does a lot of damage because that didn't even have the Life Orb on it. So with the Life Orb, yeah, Accelerock is doing huge amounts of damage. So if Alakazam's taken some chip, that's going to be a good hit right there. The Stone Edge is absolutely massive as well. And in singles, the Rock Slide will even find a KO. What about Noivern? So as long as the Noivern isn't running Draco Meteor, it kind of shows like, yeah, we can, you know, survive a hit, get the super effective hit, maybe have Accelerock for the polish. That kind of shows like all the Pokemon, when I brought up this list on Serby, all the Pokemon that are faster than us, or most of them, they're going to be flying type. And unfortunately, like the Accelerock isn't fast enough to where it's like, okay, Accelerock doesn't straight KO it. So it's like we Accelerock, or we gamble on the Stone Edge. So maybe that'd be a better idea, is like, if there's already Stealth Rocks on the field, if that Pokemon's taking damage, this Excel Rock does work for really good, super effective, and even neutral damage to a degree. So if you don't want to take that gamble, you can still only take one hit from an opposing Pokemon. It's going to be faster, and then try to double them up on that Excel Rock. So that's kind of shows, like, Lycanroc's really weird. That fast Rock-type Pokemon kind of exceed, and yet they kind of don't. So just kind of look at some other things. I mean, like, Crobat doesn't have much to do with us, and then we just straight up Stone Edge it. So say we have, like, the Stone Plate will definitely be enough. Also, the Excel Rock, looking to have 2-hit KO potential in some situations. Life Orb will have 2-hit KO. Stone Edge on this will just be big damage onto the Crobat. So we just gotta deal with faster Pokemon while hopefully surviving a not super effective or not insanely powerful hit. And then I'll just look at Silvally. So yeah, +1, Stone Plate, Jolly, Silvally, Stone Edge. Decent chance to KO, not quite, like 2 out of 3 chances to KO on the Stone Plate +1. So maybe on a different range of Pokemon will be a little better, like on the 90 in the defense. Yeah, 95 hit points, 90 defense will be enough to KO a Pokemon like that if you just go for Bulk Up. So you outspeed Bulk Up, Stone Edge, that's the range we're looking for. Swords Dance will bring us a lot more KOs, but then something can just come in and resist us. And even looking at a move like Brick Break, so let's say the Brick Break right here, and then we go into something like a Garchomp. So Garchomp's already pretty tanky, and the Earthquake is very threatening, so +2 Brick Break not going to be enough. It just kind of shows that, yeah, Lycanroc doesn't really accomplish much. Like, it can shine, it can work good against certain teams, but if the opponent is just ready for a very low coverage sweeper, which is generally done with a lot of different tanks or something like that. Like, let's see what Toxapex does. I'm actually scared to see what could happen. So Toxapex, let's see, if you're already at +2, you 2-hit KO it, but the Liquidation also 2-hit KOs you. So that means in a neutral scenario, Toxapex hits you with Liquidation, and then it hits you with Liquidation, and then you die. So you Swords Dance, Stone Edge, and then you don't even do enough to, like, super duper threaten it. If you can't really bring in Toxapex, so if you're already set up, you can actually deal with the Toxapex pretty well. But if you've already taken chip damage, then you don't KO it, and then it finishes you off. So it's in a really weird frail state. I'm trying to, like, also compare it to the Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl is also a really interesting Pokemon because slightly less damage on the Aerodactyl, but a lot more speed. I think Aerodactyl is actually just a better Pokemon because we see with the Lycanroc right here that a lot of these are going to be 2-hit KO. Stone Edge is going to be 2-hit KO, but if we drop this down to Aerodactyl range at the 105, that's still a 2-hit KO. So either we win with the Aerodactyl in 2 turns, or we win with the Lycanroc in 2 turns, and there's not many other times where when that turns out to not be the case. What about that Alakazam matchup? Like in this case, we'd outspeed the Alakazam, and then if we have the 105 on the attack, it's still enough to just dunk the Alakazam and not really have to worry about too much as the Aerodactyl. So if I just go and bring in like straight up Aerodactyl, Rock Slide, but then yeah, it just shows that Aerodactyl is going to do really good even with that Stone Edge with the Life Orb, and then just wants to go and win that way. So no Life Orb, and it's still going to be enough for that Aerodactyl to KO. So you can effectively run the same things too. Like it gets all those fangs. Wait, doesn't it get Ice Fang? Yeah, it gets Ice Fang, so it's better coverage. Oh man, as unfortunate as it is, like I wanted to see the Lycanrocs turn out to be pretty awesome because these are like fan favorite Pokemon. Rockruff is freaking adorable. Everyone either loves the midday or midnight form of the Lycanroc, and the fastest and probably the best one because like just the stat distribution is really good. It works, but it's not absolutely broken. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.